Are you guys there? Hi, Didi. How are you? Hi, Thomas.
Perfect.
How was your holiday?
It's alright. Um, it's been mostly trying to catch up on projects.
The same with me, huh? I agree. The end of the semester is not the time to have a holiday. But hold on, we're almost there. Almost there. Do you have any plans for Christmas?
Um, Probably just I don't know. Probably just resting,
Ah,
getting some rest.
yes. Yes, some sleep, right?
Yeah.
That would be nice. I agree. All right. Okay, good. Thank you guys for joining me today. Let's see what we have on tap. Oops. Let's get going. All right. So today we will talk about PowerPoint presentations, for which I asked you to read. Instead of doing chapter 11, which I originally had in mind, I asked you to read the section in the textbook on conference presentations and also APA. But remember, I said that the APA paper that is in the book is APA 6th, which is not what we are using anymore, but the content is still good. I also asked you guys to perhaps watch something on YouTube if you can, get a little bit of introduction to PowerPoint. And a PowerPoint tutorial, there's a gazillion of them. I'm sure you actually are very familiar because you constantly watch PowerPoint presentations in your classes. And in terms of your um, activities, I have posted, and you can still do them. I have posted 4 different PowerPoint presentations from previous years for you to look at and perhaps evaluate using a form that is available as well. So these activities will continue to be available to you for another week until Monday the 7th, at which point, well, actually, because our class is at 8:30, but anytime between now and the last session, which is a week from today, you can do any of the activities from these past 2 weeks. I also have posted a choice, well, a chance, let's put it this way, for you to do the what was it, critical thinking training again. This is the same one you had in the beginning of the semester. I think it was week 1 of the course. Also, if you do that, now remember, I don't have access to your answers. I only know who participated. And if you do this critical thinking experiment again, now you will remember that we talked about pre-test and post-test. This is a pre-test and post-test. You will be able to see whether you have grown in terms of your critical thinking throughout the semester. Of course, this was not the only course that you have taken. There were others, but it's kind of interesting to see whether your critical thinking skills have improved as a result of your uh, learning of the material in this course in particular. It's going to be exactly the same one you had in September. There's only one difference, one additional requirement, that you cannot leave any questions unanswered to get the full two points. So if you don't know the answer, just guess, do your best, but type in an answer into it's posted as a test. Of course, it is not a test. As you understand, there are no grades, just participation points. It will be available to you for a week. So as of today until next Tuesday, some of you desperately need more points. Some of you are pretty good. Check. I will also, by Thursday, go through your quiz grades, quiz scores, and I will remove the lowest. Now, if you skipped or missed one of the quizzes, there's nothing for me to remove. Now, but if you took all 6, I will remove the lowest one. So you need to check once it's posted, probably will happen tomorrow, to make sure that I did not screw up. Sometimes it happens, instead of removing a 7, I remove an 8. We don't want that. So you are responsible to check your grades to make sure that I did it right. Monica, no, if what's important is for you to see if you have learned anything. So if you don't take, it's completely optional. If you don't take the training, nothing will happen. If you do take the training, you'll get 2 more points, but you will only get 2 more points if you attempt to answer the questions. So there were several people, again, I don't see the results. It's the people who are doing this little study. They reported there were several people during critical thinking training 1 where people just did not even try to answer any questions. So you still got 2 points, but that's not fair. We need to know, they need to know what you have learned. So if you want 2 more points, do it, regardless of the fact, I mean, almost all of you participated in the first one, but it will be interesting for you to compare your thinking of the same questions after 3 months of doing, hopefully, some critical thinking exercises. Okay, Monica, did I answer your question? It's not a replacement for training 1. It's more an additional way for you to get more points. The other little logistical thing is I have some conflicting schedule today, so I have to finish at 6, which means, hey, for you guys who came, we will finish a little earlier than usual. Now, because we are working on the PowerPoint today, during this presentation and discussion, you can ask me questions regarding your PowerPoint. Of course, we will work on them on Thursday, but if you have something that you already can think of, or when you see what I will present and the other PowerPoints that I have for us to look at, if you have a question, please ask me without waiting for me to stop in chat or unmute yourself. Okay, dokie. So on Thursday, this is our last Thursday. Remember that you need to make sure that your group Google Doc reflects the contribution of every member of your group. So then when you're ready to submit, download it to your computer, save it, convert it into PDF if you want, and only then submit. I have the group evaluation form prepared. I will email it to everybody tomorrow and we'll post it on the Blackboard, both in the announcements and in the weekly schedule for next week. The link to assignment 2, let's see, stop. Let's see if we can look at the PowerPoint, the link to assignment 2. Oops, probably not. Where is it? Where is it? Why aren't you showing? Let me just double check. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Schedule. All right, let me try again. See if I can share the Blackboard with you guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Again, it's a little small, but don't worry about it. So here in week 14, which is where we are at right now, if you click on this, you will get all the activities. This is the activity. So this is the critical thinking training 2 that I just talked about. If you participate, you're going to get 2 points. But again, you have to answer. You have to try to answer all the questions. A couple of all the activities are still posted, like PowerPoint evaluations, which you should do to give yourself some additional understanding. Now, if you go to assignment 2 on Blackboard, it just keeps doing this. I'm trying to put it up at the top and it keeps pushing it down. So this is the link to assignment 2. It's in assignment 2 submission. It is in assignment 2. I specifically did not post it in multiple locations, not to get you confused. Okay. So there, and you have a bunch of other things. Of course, what you see is my screen. You see something else, something that's slightly different because you have a student view and I have a faculty view. All right. Sample assignments 2 are here for you. You can read them. Here is an assignment that received an A. Here's an assignment that received a C. Here is a sample figure. Again, comes from our Excel for chi-square. Fine. Done. Any questions about where assignment 2 should be submitted? Okay, everybody's good. Perfect. All right. So we will work on your PowerPoint presentation. So it will be helpful if after today's session you start creating something simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but it can be if you want. So we can work more in your breakout rooms on Thursday. Of course, I will be available. I'll try to make sure that I visit every group. You can tell me if you need me earlier than what you're in my list. Okay. Finally, we'll have our PowerPoint presentations on Zoom on December 8th. Again, if you remember, I mentioned it last time and I'm mentioning it again. If you decide that you do not want to do a PowerPoint presentation, it's doable. It's possible. You just have to email me and say that you opt out. And then the highest grade that you can get is a C+, if everything else is fine. So PowerPoint presentation will be a group event. You get 10 minutes per group. And this is what we will talk about today. You have 12 to 15 slides tops, because basically the rule of thumb is 1 slide per minute. And if you only have 10 minutes, we don't count the title slide and the references slide. Of course, you have to also post them just before they do. And the link is in the last week schedule. It will be scored on on a scale of 0 to 100, but of course 0 is only if you did not present, did not come, you did not participate in its preparation, but it will be graded in increments of 5. So 100, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70, 65, 60. And these are the passing grades. Anything below 60 obviously is fail. You will be scored. And of course, your presentations will be recorded, but they will not be posted. This is only for our internal use. If you then would like to go over your presentation with me, we will have it recorded. You will be graded on these 3 components. Content comes from your assignment too, so there's nothing new that you need to do except put it in a PowerPoint. APA format, again, this is something that you're well familiar with your assignment too, but again, it's a PowerPoint presentation, so there are a few little things that are less restrictive in PowerPoint than they are in the text. And finally, your oral presentation. So you need to make sure that you have access to your mics. Yes, Jasmine, please ask me a question.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Um, so you said PowerPoint is optional, right?
Yeah.
But then the grade without doing the PowerPoint would be a C plus, even if like the paper is 100.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And the reason why it is because it is uh, a skill that you're supposed to learn in this class. At least practice it once. But sometimes people are so fearful about public speaking that they don't want to do that. So
You
this is
gotta motivate them. You gotta motivate us. Don't really have an option, but we do.
Jasmine, I've been trying. Don't you think I've been trying to motivate you the entire semester?
Right. All right, thank you.
Mhm. Right. So this is a sort of last resort option for those who think that they are in such a panic that they just can't do that. And it happens sometimes. That's why I say it is optional, but I can't then, it's 100 points, right? It's a third of the grade. I can't not take into the account when I assign the final grade in the class. Right. So I will try to be polite, but I may have to stop you if you go over 10 minutes, just because we have uh, 10 presentations. So, and we only have 2 hours. So we need to be able to get through them. So you cannot go over. So I really strongly suggest that you practice, especially because you will have to switch between 3 of you or 2 of you if it's a 2-member group. And all these transitions take time, believe me. I've been doing this for a while now. So practicing is really important. Even if you practice just together with no audience, that's fine. But it's nice to have somebody, maybe your significant other, or other members of your family, even your dog might be a good audience. My chinchilla is a good audience. Just to make sure that you are smooth and uh, that your presentation flows, that you don't uh, so stumble upon words and stuff like that. Goody. Finally, like I said, your group evaluation form is ready. I will post it and I will email it tomorrow to everybody, where you will have a chance to say what you think about your members of the group. Of course, the best thing for me is to hear that it was all equal, 33%, 33%, 33%. But it's not always the case. I would expect that at least one of you will have taken more responsibility than others, and this is the person who I would consider the group leader. And the group leader is the one person who, because of this additional burden of managing the group, will be upgraded to a half letter point. Now, people who, if you decide that the 3 of you were equally involved and you have done really well, then you don't need that. You will be good to begin with. This group evaluation form is confidential. You will email it back to me. It's not posted anywhere so that I can see. Obviously, there is no way for me to know, except for those occasions when some of you talk to me, and that happened for several groups, about missing in action group members. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And let me reiterate it again that students often, not often, but always, I should say, hate group work. And it's precisely because many of them don't have the courage to say that they could not work it out in the group and make or convince other members of the group to contribute, chip in. And then they don't feel comfortable enough to complain about that. So they say, well, I did all the work. Well, if you want group work to improve, you have to have the courage to stand for your convictions. And I have to tell you that all research, and if any of you are thinking about going to a master's program, all research is group work these days. There is no solo individual research. So if you're having issues now, it's going to be even worse later on. That's that. Okay. So this is, as you can see, the end of my presentation. So now let's think about what we can do with PowerPoint. All right, so the first thing, I have to get out of the PowerPoint mode though. Let me stop sharing for a second and then come back to that. Okay, good. So, all right. So when we start, we could actually start with a presentation that has nothing in it. So I'm just gonna go and delete everything. It's a little small, but it doesn't matter because all you need to do is to see first the general idea, and then I'll make it larger. So this is the standard view. This is PowerPoint 2007. So you may have 2013, 2016, even 2019. Doesn't really matter. The idea is the same. You actually have to create the slides first. And there is on the ribbon, this is again 2007, you may be using Google Slides. It's all very similar. You have to start with a new slide. So if you click on that, you're going to get your first new slide. I will stay in this mode, not in the presentation mode, so I can do things. Now, as you can see, this is the title slide. If you click on the little layout, if I change into annotation, then I have to go back and forth. So tell me if you're not seeing what I'm doing, then I'll try to make it a little bit larger maybe. So here's the layout button next to the new slide. And if you click on the little arrow, you're going to get different types of slides. Now, you really need the title slide, and then you need the title and content. These are the two that you don't have a choice. You have to use them. You may also be able to use title only if you want to create a figure that you will post, or you can insert a figure through the title and content. Now, so let's say I'm going to change. So now instead of a title slide, I have a slide that has the content, the title itself, and the content. But to make our life a little bit more interesting, we can do fun stuff. So if you look up above the ribbon, you have the menus. So I'm in the home menu right now. The next one is insert. So let's do that for a second. Okay, so here's the home menu. This is the one where you get the new slide. This one, and where you get the layout if you want to change the layout of your slide. And then comes the menu that is insert. We'll maybe have to talk about that. comes the menu called Design. And that's the one that I want to play with for a second. So let me get rid of the drawings and go into Design. All right, so in the design, as you can see, you can get all these various ways of embellishing your slides. So if you click on them, you will see how they will change. So for example, this particular design format or template has the dark gray background and kind of yellow. So let's say we have an title. So we have the word abstract, okay. I would suggest against darker backgrounds because they don't look so good in Zoom. It's much better to stick with lighter background, but certainly you can change other things. So here is the one where the title goes at the bottom. Here is something that has a nice little green. Again, these are 2007 templates. There are many of them. You can download them from the web. They are built into Office 365, to which you have access. I don't know what Google Slides program has, probably something. So here it's your choice. You can be adventurous, see if you like something. Just try not to go overboard. Here is another one. It's very simple, right? You have all of this. Here is the one with the little wavy thingy at the top. Another one with kind of grayish background again. Maybe we should avoid doing backgrounds. Here's the one that I use all the time, just because it's so simple. Black one, yikes. Another black one, but only in the title. Maybe not so bad. Here's the one with the stripe on the right, but then the abstract is kind of interesting, and so on. So you can choose whichever one appeals to you and makes your presentation aesthetically pleasing, because that's one of the reasons. Oh, look at this. Gee, okay. One of the things that is allowed under the APA style. You can use a template with colors. Okay, another black one. So you can just move your mouse and you're going to get a bunch of different versions. Now, of course, you can go down in case you have more. I actually don't. I only have, I don't know, which one shall we use to play with. Let's say we will use, oh no, I'll use this one. Okay. Now, but I deleted my, not deleted, I changed my title slide. So let me insert it again. And I have to make it a title, right? And I'm going to move it. Okay. So on the left, you get this sidebar where you can rearrange the slides, whichever way you want. And by clicking on any of them, you will be moving from one slide to the next. That's just one option. The other option is at the bottom on the right. You get the little slide sorter view. So if I click on that, you're going to see all the slides that you have. Now remember, I'm going to make it a little larger. You can only have 12 to 15 of them. Okay. So we'll come back to the title. The title, of course, is the same title as you have for your assignment 2, where you will have your predictor variable, you have your verb, and then your response variable. Now, if you want to change the title between the assignment 2 and PowerPoint, you can do that. It's not a problem. So one of the things that, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it big enough. there are numbers on the slides, but they're not in the position where they are in the text. Again, that's okay because it's PowerPoint. But if you want, you can go to a menu called View, right? And here you can do changes that will affect the entire presentation. To do that, you have to go to the Slide Master. So if I click on that, you can get all the potential layouts for the slides, and you can, if you change it on the Slide Master, then it will change everywhere. So for example, here at the bottom, I know it's a little small, I have the page numbers. If I go back home, I can make it, let's say, larger. And I can make them, I don't know, bold, for example. All right, so now if I go back to View and choose Normal, which is where I was before, you will see that the slide number has changed. It's now 20 points and it's bold, so you can see it better. Well, what else do we have? Well, we have your names, right? So we have first name, last name. Of course, there are no commas, right? 1, then blah, 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 2, comma, and 3. Remember that you need to arrange your last names yourselves in the alphabetical order, followed by affiliation, which has 3 components, department, I'm just gonna abbreviate it, college, CUNY. Just the way it is in assignment 2. Nothing changes except that it's on PowerPoint. So the font is bigger and there is color, followed by the course, followed by my name, followed by date. Oops. Again, to meet, if you, this is okay, you can leave it as long as you have all the information, or you can do it the way it is done in the APA and have it centered, including all of this, right? Okay, so this is like assignment 2, but in a PowerPoint format. So this is the slide that you will open and you will start your presentation. So now I'm going to go to the second one. Again, this is the abstract. Remember that the abstract is, in the old days, it was at least 120, well, at the most 120 words. In the new APA 7, it can go up to 250 words. You have to have it, but you don't have to spend any time on it. So you don't really have to read it out because we all can read, not a problem. So this is easy because you're just gonna copy and paste it from your assignment 2, except it will look differently. Okay, now I can create more slides that will contain all the required components. So who can tell me what my next component is going to be, or the way we call them, sections in the text? What follows abstract? Intro, yes, good, Kim and Monica, perfect. So I'm going to create a new slide. So I'm going to click on the new slide, right? And I'm going to call it introduction. There are no numbers, remember, this is APA. We may have more than one slide, probably. Very good. The next component after introduction is thank you, Monica, exactly, method, right? And method, as we know, has 3 subsections. So here you can use bullet points because, again, this is the APA. This is not, this is APA in the PowerPoint. So we have participants, design, and oops, and materials, materials, and procedure. Obviously, they don't have to be all squeezed on the same slide. I'm just making an outline. Very good. After method, what do we have? Results. Thank you, guys. Results, right? Oops. And finally, well, not finally, but after results, we have what? Discussion. Excellent. Yes, you guys have learned the PA style. Yes, I'm happy. Discussion. Now the final component after discussion. Our last slide. What is it going to be? References. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. References, right? Now, references have to be APA formatted. Okay. You cannot have any bullet points here. So how do you get rid of a bullet point? Well, there are two ways. One is just delete it. So I clicked backspace, or you can go up here. Let me get the color up here. These are the bullet points. These are the bullet points, all of those. You can use them to get rid of the bullet points in the references slide. You can use them anywhere else, but not in the references. References have to be APA formatted. Now remember, if you have more than one is required because that's your research article. Maybe you have two references, right? Jasmine, plural. They will have to be with hanging indent and in APA format. I don't want to spend any time on that, but I might show you on a different slide. So now if you see, we have, this is slide 7, right? So we will have to go back. So for example, in the results, we may want to have 2 slides. So let's add another slide. Okay, and it's going to be, so first is, oops, go back, results. And again, there's a little bit of flexibility here. We can say results, statistics, for example, right? So here you'll present your numbers and your chi-square. So you'll have at least 2 things. So you have descriptive numbers. And if you want, you can have your 2x2 contingency table if you wish. And then you're going to have chi-square test of independence. And remember that square has to be superscript. So you're going to go into font and click superscript, and it will become superscript. This, if you use descriptives, you will have to have some numbers, statistical symbols like chi-square will have to be in italics. So this is all APA, but it's presented on the slide. In the second results slide, right, we will have our figure. This is where you can, again, you use the APA style, but you can have color because it is a PowerPoint. And the figure can come from your template from the chi-square. Remember, that's where you punched in your numbers. You can just copy and paste it. It will have to be APA, including figure caption, right? Figure 1. Okay. And this is bold. And then comes your response variable as a function of predictor. I don't want to type everything because it will take time. And then you copy and paste your figure from Excel or from Google, what's the name of that? Sheets, right? Google Sheets, whatever you're using. So that is giving us already 8 slides. See how fast we are approaching our 12 slide limit. So perhaps we definitely need more in the introduction. So we can have the first slide, the introduction to the general topic. That is your first paragraph. The one thing that you should not do, you should not copy and paste the entire paragraph out of your assignment 2. You need to create, so here, these are bullets. You need to create bullet points that will allow you to present the material in oral form. We're not, so that's one of the major mistakes that students often make. They think that PowerPoint presentation is just like the text that they wrote. That's not true. You guys have been now through many, many, many PowerPoint presentations in your college career. You know how dreary it is when somebody just drones by reading the slides. We all can do that. We don't need that. So you need to make points, and you need to orally, right, engage your audience. So for example, you need to know where your camera is, so that you can actually look at the camera when you talk. Uh, uh, on my laptop, the camera, it's strange design. The camera is at the bottom left. I'm not so used to sort of looking bottom left. So I look straight. Now I look not into the audience. So you may have to, have a few points here. Point 1, point 2, point 3. Note that up here, let me change to annotation tool again. Here in the font group, you have the font type, and here yet there is another relaxation of the restrictions from APA style, as you can use whatever font comes with a template. You don't have to use Times Roman or Arial, as long as it's readable, right? Note that the next, let's clear that thing next to that is the font size, and that is important. So just like the headings in APA text, of which there are 5 levels, right? We have the same here. So let me show you what they look like. Let's get rid of that. So let's say PowerPoint 1, and now I'm going to do 0.11. As you can see, the first level is set up as 32. Again, it's a little small, but trust me. While the second level now is 28 points, so it's smaller. So if you just cut and paste a whole paragraph and plop it into the slide, what PowerPoint will do, it will adjust the size of your font to fit it on the screen. So it may become 20. It may become 18. If you have lots of stuff, it may become 14. We're not doing that. But you need to remember that another rule of thumb is that level 1 cannot be smaller than 32 points. Oops. 32 points. Because it's too small if it is less than that. Level 2 is 28. So this is what PowerPoint will do for you by default. But of course, you can change all of that. If you have little text, you can either do it manually, which I don't recommend because it's a lot of work, but you could. So if I click that and then increase my font, this is 36 now, but this one stayed 28. So now I have to do it here to make it 32. But if you want to really do it in one easy way, you're going to go back to view, to the slide master. There it is. Here it shows us that the first level of headings is 32. So let's say I know I'm going to have less text, so I'll make it 36. And I'll make that 32. And it goes up to 5. Never go beyond 3 anyway, because it's just not. And now going back to normal view, it automatically adjusted everything, making level 1 36, level 2 32. Okay, so anything that you want to apply, which is normally the case, to the entire presentation should be done in the slide master. That will make it possible to change everything. So let's add another slide. Introduction. And now it's your research article, right? Here, this is a good way to think about bullet points. So you have a hypothesis or claim, let's make it claim, that your authors had. Then you will have method. What did they do? Right? Then you have their results, especially important if the results are really numbers that you can use to compare to your results. And then discussion, in this case, it's like conclusion. Oops. Conclusion. What did they find? Did they confirm? Confirm their claim. So a slide that will have these points, and you can have subpoints, right? So what was the method? Well, in the method, you could say that this is what they did, you know, participants, and that was an observation or whatever they did, right? All right. And we can add yet one more slide, which will be your final paragraph of the introduction, right? Introduction, our study. Remember, we talked about it a little bit, that the way you use personal pronouns in the text, you have to be careful. You should not be talking about yourselves as participants, because you were not. You were the actual experimenters. So it is your study. Well, experimenters, observers. It was your study. So now you can have a few bullet points here. So your claim, look in your observation plan, your predictions, right? Whatever else you had. So now it looks like we have a title, we have abstract, we have 1, 2, 3 slides for the introduction. Method probably will have a couple of slides because your procedure, you may have to, let's say, let's get rid of this and add another method slide. That's where you will have most of your information. Where did you do it? How did you do it? How much time it took? Did you have a pilot? If you had a pilot, some people managed to do so. So we may have a pilot. That is, you did sort of preliminary observation to make sure that it all worked. Design and categories that you created. So you have 2. So let's do it again. 1 title, 2 abstract, 3 introduction, that's 5. 2 methods, that's 7. 2 results, that's 9. 1 discussion, it's 10, and the references 11. And again, if you did not get statistical significance in your chi-square, then you are obliged to come up with some explanation why. So, what you found was found, right? And why discussion? Why not? If it didn't work out, at least half of you did not get statistically significant results. Why not? Some explanation. So at this point, it's 12 slides. Ta-da, you're done. So all you need to do is make sure you get these bullet points, everything looks APA, and you practice doing this. So before I move on to the next stage, which is showing you some examples, let me ask, what questions do you have so far?
Before ending class, can you please just go over the 12 slides again?
Sure.
And I'm sorry. And then what if we don't do 12 slides? Like, what if we do one abstract and one method? Does the amount of slides matter, or the information that we cover?
It's information that you cover, of course, matters. It's
Okay.
very difficult to have a good presentation with the APA style with less than 10, fewer than 10. So that's why I'm saying 12, because the title slide and the references slide don't really count. So,
Oh, okay.
right? So you can have 12, or you can even have 15 if you speak a little faster, which is...
All right. But before we end, can you please just go through the slides again really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So let's give ourselves another option of maybe changing the design just to play a little bit. So here is a strange one with the titles at the bottom. Here is the one with the background. Here is very simple one, white stuff with a little corner. I'm just going through to show you. Once you have it designed, you have the outline, then you can play with aesthetics and see which one you like, which one, if you want to go for the dark background, you could, right? So all of those will give you different options, see which one you like. Okay, good. So let's now switch to one of the PowerPoints from the previous years. Which one shall we? Okay, let's do this one. Let's go up. Now I'm going to go into PowerPoint. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's going to be okay. All right, there's one little thing. Oops, you can't see. I see. Okay, stop. Let's change that. Okay, do you see this presentation, guys, called Covariance between Cell Phone Use and Samaritan Behavior? Hello? Do you guys see it?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you, because that silence, I'm not sure. Anyway, so one thing that looks a little strange perhaps to you is the aspect ratio. So you can change that. If you don't like the slides that fill up the entire screen, you can change it in, where is that? Is it in insert? No, it's right here, page setup. So I have now this wide presentation, which I can change to sort of normal on screen 4:3. That's a standard one. Now you can see that the slide became less wide, so to speak. Now, the photo, of course, looks a little strange because it was designed for a wider presentation. So I'm going to go back to the aspect ratio of 16 to 9. Maybe 16 to 10 might work as well. Right, there you go. As you can see, these guys, again, this is APA 6, so you don't see the department here, for example, and you don't see the information about the course. But you can see they have chosen a particular color scheme, which was fine with their choice. And you can use photos and you can use illustrations. This is something that I haven't mentioned when I was showing you the my version of creating that. All right. And again, this is not the best title because it doesn't have a verb, but it doesn't matter. So here's the abstract. Again, remember, you're not reading it. It's just there. It has to be there because you submit your PowerPoint for grading, right? So let's see what they have next. Okay, here's the introduction. So note that they have 3 bullet points with general topic. This is the same paper that is posted, the same people, that's their PowerPoint presentation of the paper that is available as a sample assignment 2 on Blackboard. So it's about helping behavior, actually holding the door. So now they're not really talking about holding the door yet, right? Because this is about general topic. Just 3 bullet points. So whatever they're going to say, they will say. They did not copy and paste a paragraph from the introduction. Let's go to the next slide. Move that so it's out of your way. So they didn't repeat the word introduction. They went immediately into previous research, which is fine. You can do that. Again, some flexibility is fine. Again, they have a little photo here, a picture of, if you don't use cell phones, because now they're talking about how distracting cell phone use can be. Okay, they say it's in academic settings, in the classroom, when you drive, and so on. And why this? Oh, I see. So they did something strange here. They had 2 different text boxes, which you shouldn't. Just always use one. Right. The next one is the research question. So now they're moving into the 3rd paragraph, saying that we can think of door holding behavior as a form of helping behavior. And they introduce helping behavior on slide number 3, right? Because number 1 is title, number 2 is abstract. And here is their research hypothesis, their claim. And the claim is a person who's actively using a cell phone is less likely to hold the door for the person directly behind them than if someone who is not. So a few little things here and there. Again, because I changed the aspect ratio, some of the things now in the wrong places. Again, try to avoid a lot of text boxes because they may overlap. Like you see now, you won't be able to change that during your presentation. Good. So these are the 3 slides. Let's go back. Introduction slide 1, introduction slide 2, previous research, and the claim, introduction slide 3. Now they're going to go to method. So what's missing here is the word method, which should be here. But they're giving us participants, so telling us it was 78 and where they did that. And they tell us who they excluded, right? They excluded children. And they did that in 3 different locations, right? So here is, let's get rid of that. Chipotle, 7-Eleven, and outdoor strip mall. So they present all of that on one slide, and let's see how big the, okay, so this is a little small. This is 18 because they put a lot of stuff into individual slide. Try to avoid going beyond 32, below 32. Okay, Here's materials and design. Grouping variable is the predictive variable. Behavior variable is the response variable. And this is the 2x2, right? Using a phone, not using a phone, holding the door, not holding the door. Okay. They did a pilot. Again, ignore the fact that some of the things got shifted because I changed the aspect ratio playing with that. So they did a pilot. They wanted to make sure. So I'm going to get rid of this for a second. That the door was not the one that can be opened automatically, because then people just push the button. They didn't want to have multiple doorways. So they realized all of that as they did the pilot. So they're presenting some pilot thinking before they actually went into the full procedure, which is next. They found a nice place where they could be hidden but could observe what happens at the door. They counted for 3 seconds for each participant while interacting with the doorway. Okay, and the results were tabulated in the contingency table. So how many slides do they have for method, participants, method and design, pilot, procedure, and now they are ready to go into the results. Okay, so as you can see, here is their figure. That's the one that we created using our chi-square template. You see there are colors here, which is fine. And this figure does not have a caption. It should, but they're giving us some numbers, right? So 82% without a cell phone held the door, but only 33% of people on the phones did the same. And here's the chi-square statement. Note that this has to be in the APA format. We practice doing that. You have it in your assignment too. So for the results, they basically have one slide. Again, you can have two. Here is the discussion. Again, I'm going to delete all of these things because I won't save that. So you can see. And now, obviously, they talk about it. They only have 3 points on the slide because most of the presentation happens orally. That is, they are talking about chivalry and stuff like that, and perhaps limitations because they didn't look at gender. For example, if you are a man, you're more likely to hold the door perhaps than if you're a woman, things like that. And they have references. They only have one, and it's APA formatted except for there is and that's missing. All right, with the DOI, which is important. And as you can see, it has hanging indent, which is the way it should be. And finally, they have one interesting slide, which of course should have been done before the references. So let's put it in the right place. They would say, you can do something else. You can do some kind of a survey. You can ask people. And actually, that's what they did. They asked whether cell phone would distract them, ask other students. I think they actually use people in class, what I can think about. Would they predict that they would hold the door and whether the phone would distract them, right? So 1 slide for the results and 2 slides for discussion, 1 slide for references. Okay, good enough. Any questions about this one? This, like I said, this is an A presentation. There are a few little things, but that's not a problem. So we have 15 minutes left. I have one more presentation I can share with you, and you guys could perhaps try to catch a few things, or if you have particular questions that I can answer, tell me what you want to do. We are a small enough class to do what we want to do, what you want to do. So Vanessa, what would you like to do? Kimberly? Jenny, what would you like to do, guys? Monica, Thomas, Didi, and Jasmine. All of you?
If you don't mind, can you please just go back to the PowerPoints and go over like 3 intro slides, 2 methods, how many abstracts?
How many abstracts is 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Work on another PowerPoint. That's Vanessa's idea. Kim, what would you like to do? We can go over another PowerPoint. Okay, Thomas, what you would find the most useful? Okay, we'll do that on Thursday, or you can start doing it tomorrow. Jenny, what about you? Okay. And Didi just disappeared. Oh, there's Didi. Didi, what would you like to do? So what would you like to do, Didi? What would be important for you?
Professor, I guess, I don't know, because you already went through the PowerPoint. I have so much on my mind, actually, but I'll let you know. My
Okay.
mind is just all over the place.
Yeah, well, okay, let's then, Jasmine, I'll get again to the skeleton in a few minutes, but let's look at one more, and I will try to ask you guys to see if you can think out loud about how this particular PowerPoint presentation looks like to you. It's this one, I think. Okay, is it big enough for you guys to see? Oh no, you can't see it. Hold on a second. Let's do it again.